So we began as Fish House Fellowship, and in 1982, we actually named our church Xenos Christian Fellowship. And I believe that at the time, naming our church Xenos made a lot of sense because a lot of people that we would encounter were coming from a church background and really had a critique of the institutional church. So whenever you would have a conversation with somebody and they said, "So what church are you a part of?" you could say, "I'm part of Xenos." And that actually was a positive thing because they would say, "Well, what does that mean? Can you tell me more?" And so it gave you an opportunity to be able to explain this interesting name and actually could become an interesting conversation piece.
Everything changes eventually. The things that you hope are that they change for the better, and that's what we want to do. We want to grow. We want to keep being about the things that we've been about that are biblical and that are good and that represent who Christ is. So discipleship, community, love, service, compassion, the Word of God are all things that we see as being very central to who we are, no matter what our name is.
At the core of who we are is a community of people that are trying to welcome unchurched people to come and investigate Christ for themselves. And so a large part of that is being culturally relevant and trying to diminish and eliminate as many superficial barriers to the message that we have so that people would actually want to come check it out for themselves. We really don't want the words that we use to get in the way of the message that we're trying to communicate to people.
But we think that we can do a better job of communicating who we are through a name. While Xenos does that when you understand what it means, there's very few people who would understand that without having an in-depth explanation of it.
We're actually going to be keeping the tag a Ministry of XCF under our new church name and with a lot of the different ministries that we're doing. And the main reason for doing that is to help even with this continuity that we're still the same church. Our church is not changing, we're simply changing the name of our church. And so at the core of who we are, having this tag, a Ministry of XCF, is gonna help people understand, the history of who we've always been as a church for the last 50 years is still gonna follow us, and we're proud of that.
Xenos has ministries all over the world. So the idea is that Xenos Christian Fellowship would become a network of ministries. So the name of the local church might change, but it would still be under the umbrella of the larger network of ministries. To see the name Xenos be connected with that is really exciting. It connects us with our history. While the local church here would be a ministry of that, it would have its own unique name.
I'm excited about this change because I think that when we change the name, that it's actually going to be a lot easier when we're faced with conversations with non-Christian people or people who are coming from an unchurched background.
I think with any sort of change like this, especially a change that seems pretty significant and pretty big, like a name change, it can bring on a lot of feelings of uncertainty and not really knowing what does that mean for us or what does that mean for me or the future of this church. And I've even experienced that, thinking, the whole time I've been in this church, it's been called Xenos. And so does this mean something big is changing? And I think what I've realized is nothing significant is changing. We are still true to the core of what we are and who we've always been. And we've always done this. And it's always been difficult and sometimes painful to accept new changes. And yet this is what our church has been doing for the last 50 years. And we're just getting to do it again in a whole new way.